All right. Hey guys, it is on screen, off screen. We're back with another episode. Josh, take it off with your first book.
So this book is the Jeanette McCurdy "I'm Glad My Mom Died" book. Um, I turned this on because it was relatively short. I haven't been in a big book mood this week, so that's why there's no Primal Hunter book 5 for us to talk about. But I did find 4 hours throughout the week to listen to this book. Um, this whole book made me want to just like hug and protect Jeanette McCurdy, honestly. You just want to like it just made me feel like she needs to be protected, not exploited like she had been. Um, that was just like my takeaway from it, though, is that like she was this kid who was like exploited, um, manipulated, controlled, um, and heavily leads into what the show Quiet on Set was all about. So shout out to that show because it was so well made as well. Um, Not sure if you ended up watching it. I know I recommended it to you, but
It's still on my list. I haven't watched it yet. I do want to. I want to read
so
this
this
book
is a
also.
this is a reminder. I thought you had read this book.
I haven't read it, no.
Oh, okay.
I've
Um,
wanted to read this for a while.
Gotcha. Yeah. So like throughout the book, she talked about how passionate she felt for writing, but how she kind of like suppressed that because her mom kind of manipulated her into acting and made her feel like writing was lesser than. But the writing in this book is fantastic. And I really hope she finds that passion and continues to write. I don't know what it would be about because this one's kind of like a bio, this was my experience kind of thing. So her to switch gears and talk about something else would be quite different. But like her writing is fantastic. Like she is the reader too in this book, so you get her tone and all of those non-word things about communication as she's reading, so you get her full message the way it was meant to be. Um, and so I hope she keeps writing, and I hope she gets published. The only problem I have with this book is I don't agree with the name because it's rather misleading.
Okay.
So it's called "I'm Glad My Mom Died," and what the book is actually about is how it's healthy and good for her that her mom died, even though she still loves and misses her mom for the good things that her mom did.
Okay.
Yeah,
That doesn't really match up very well.
yeah. And like I get it, the name is catchy, it's grabby, it's shocking, and that's probably why it was named that. But the book literally ends with like that message of I love my mom regardless of her flaws. I'm sad she died. But acknowledging that like, hey, mentally this is really healthy for me and it's probably good for me that she died. But she's not glad her mom died. So I can see where they came up with it. It's just like I found it rather not accurate. Um, but it's good. It was enjoyable. It was very interesting to see her perspective on things. Right, like I was huge into iCarly growing up, and to see you know the other side of things is always quite shocking. Um, I never got into Sam and Cat, but like her perspective on that was like she was only doing the show because she was promised a chance to direct, and she hated the show the entire time. But basically, Ariana Grande said if she directs, I'm leaving the show. So she was just stuck doing this role and this thing and hating this character that she was now known as. She talks about how like people approached her and called her Sam and how it like she felt like she was not seen by anybody really because her mom and family was just using her, and everybody outside was calling her Sam, not Jeanette, and all that kind of things. Um, and it's like, wow, to see the underside of that is just astounding. Like, if it wasn't for Miranda Crossgrove, um, who plays Carly and iCarly, like Jeanette's life could have gone incredibly differently because, according to the book, she had been nothing but supportive and a loving friend. But other than that, she had like nobody and nothing who was just supportive and kind.
I'm glad they had each other. Seems like Carly was a decent human being, or
Yeah,
is a decent person.
yeah, and she actually talks about how that in the book. Is she's like, it's crazy that like Miranda Crossgrove came from such a different background because her family was like rich and wealthy and all this kinds of stuff. Meanwhile, Jeanette McCurdy came from an LDS middle class background, and her mom was dying of cancer ever since she was little, and like very different kind of outlook in life and things. And yet Miranda Crossgrove was just like this kind person who just like was a good friend from the beginning, and it's really great. So it's not like this down book the entire time. It's not like this big, huge like downer the whole time. There's some good positive outlooks on it. Um, for me, the takeaway is like you never really know what somebody's going through, right? So we look at all these actors and we think, oh man, they've got the life, they've got the money, they've got it all set, right? They've got these characters, and surely everybody must love them because we love and appreciate them for what they do for us, the way they entertain us, and the stories that they tell us. Meanwhile, they can be going through stuff like this and stuff like what's on Quiet on Set and all that kind of stuff. Um,
Just
pretty,
really, really lonely
yeah,
and
pretty powerful.
in pain.
Yeah,
That is. It's too bad she had to go through that. It really is.
it's genuinely worth a read. It's like I said, the writing in it is so good. Um, me as an ex-Mormon person can definitely relate to that aspect of her life. I really love how she was so respectful to the religion while also saying she didn't want to be a part of it going forward. Um, kind of my same outlook. So she's like, I'm not gonna talk down to the religion. It's not my part. But like, the church like used to be this safe space for her, and she really respects it for what it was for her, and all that good stuff.
Every time I've seen a interview with her, she is highly she's just an impressive person. And she seems like somebody who's really kind and just wants to help. Um, I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson, not to get like political, but I like his view on therapy in the world, and I really love his books. But he has a self-authoring program where you kind of go through self-therapy is sort of what the program's supposed to do. And she said she did this and it changed her life. So she just started buying the program for other people in their lives. What a cool present to give people. Just like this is a not political or anything. This is just somebody who has spent their life in therapy and created a tool for you to be able to use therapy tools when you don't have the money to go to therapy. Here's an option. I'm going to gift it to you. Gift it to you. Try to help you out. Try to help you see a little bit clearer, think a little bit clearer, be a little bit kinder to yourself, make future goals, see that you can actually accomplish these things. And she's bringing up all of that kind of stuff in these interviews. She seems like a good person.
Yeah, she genuinely is. She says it in the book that like her sole purpose is to like when her mom was alive, her whole life was based around making her mom happy, and that's why her mom was so effective at manipulating her and controlling her and that kind of stuff. And now she's dedicating her life to like helping out others and doing all of these things. And because of the way her mom like forced her to take all these classes and do all of these things, she has all these talents and skills and abilities. And because of iCarly and other shows, she has all this financing and backing that she's able to do it. And it's really really impressive.
That's very cool. It's very cool. Um, with that, my first topic this episode is This Is Us season 3. I finally finished it. I think it's a little bit of a drop from the first two seasons, but actually just a small drop. Um, I liked this season and I like aspects of it a lot. The relationship with Kevin and his newer girlfriend that's in this season, I think, is great. Where they go to a foreign country together and they both have each other's back. And the very end of the season, the girlfriend says, I don't want kids. I'm never going to want kids. And Kevin decides he's going to sacrifice that for her, but she can't let him sacrifice what she knows he really wants. She looks out for him, even though it's going to be painful for her. And I liked that aspect of the show a lot. I like the aspect of Kate deciding to take a risk so that she can have her own kids. There's other options. She could adopt, she could foster, she could do these different things, but she wants her own kid. She's willing to take the chance to go there and get it done. I don't even agree with the choice. I think with the statistics of her likely dying, it was probably not the best choice. But I like the fact that she thinks about it and she sticks to her guns and sticks. Anyway, I was saying I think it's cool that Kate fights for what she believes in and fights for this kid, and the kid fights in return. And I like that aspect of the show. Um, my major negative of the show is both a negative and a positive. I like what they do with the brother character, with Kevin trying to connect with his uncle, and the uncle just having this terrible, terrible life, but Kevin caring about it anyway. And it shows more about who Kevin is and it develops that character. I didn't like the answer for why the uncle was not in Jack's life. He messed up. He messed up bad when he did the grenade and the kid died. I thought that was obviously tragic. It's a terrible thing. I was expecting that to result in the mother and father betraying Jack's unit to the Vietnam soldiers and him losing his unit and the unit dying too. Something a little bit more personally wrong, like actually losing another brother, losing somebody who you go out and you march with every single day and you set up fences with every single day and you know very well. And it's directly because of this mistake with the grenade. When that didn't happen, to me, Jack should have forgiven him. Maybe not included him in his life as much, but to the point of saying my brother died seemed over extreme and not matching the character. But it led to an interesting aspect with the family reconnecting with the uncle. And overall, still good. I started season 4. I'm still interested in the show. Still want to watch it. Is this something that you would go back to, or are you just probably never going to pick it up again?
I don't know. It's a hard kind of question to answer. So
Okay.
I hated that the brother was still alive. I don't care what the explanation for him being alive was. With the character that Jack was alive, or that Jack was made out to be, no matter what the brother did, let's say the brother was pulled out of the unit, he went somewhere else. But because of what he did with the kid, the family betrayed him, and Jack is the sole survivor. He lost all of his army buddies
That's what I thought
because
was
of it,
going to happen.
right? The brother is still alive. And even if, like, that had happened, Jack would not have completely cut him out. I see him as, like, why do we hate the new Skywalker. The old Luke Skywalker was this hope character. He symbolized hope and all this kinds of stuff. Jack's the same way. He had always had hope for people, for things, for forgiveness, and all this kinds of stuff. So no matter what that kid, what the brother did, having him be alive completely betrays Jack and starts questioning his character and breaking him down. And like, there's a lot more in season 3 that goes into tearing Jack down as a person
What
and
else was there?
breaking
Because
his
I agree with
character.
that aspect.
There's a lot
What
of the
what
way
else did
he
you
like
find?
treated the two sons, and they started to introduce that like Jack really did look at Randall differently, which is my next big complaint about the show. Is
Hmm.
like season 1 is Randall feels different because he's adopted and he's black. And we kind of resolve this, and there's this wholesome like family moment where Randall had this realization that like maybe he was isolated because he isolated himself,
Yeah, it's a great
right?
moment.
There's some responsibility to it. Like, not saying that the other family members aren't also at fault, but he takes accountability for it. And I think that, like, Kevin, I think him going to the other country wasn't a great part, but I agree with you on, like, the girlfriend and, like, him caring about the uncle does a lot for his character. But most of season 3 is all about Randall, and his issue is I'm adopted and I'm black, right? And it's like every single episode, it's like Randall going, but I'm adopted and I'm black. But I'm adopted and I'm black. Why don't they get it? I'm adopted and I'm black. And it's like, okay, I get it. That is a thing that would affect your life, especially in the situation where you're growing up in a white community with a white family and through a time where there was racism and people outside the family is treating you differently. I understand that.
And even
But
his
your
own
whole
grandma's treating him
personality,
differently.
yeah, your whole personality is not going to be the color of your skin.
That's true. They do minimize his character in some ways there.
They minimize
They
him
do.
completely. In season 2, they built him into this intricate character who wanted to be bigger than himself, right? He took accountability for what he took. He wanted to make amends to his family and start growing closer to them. And he also wanted to, he reconnected with his dad, which I loved that plot line. And I
Me
loved
too.
the, you know, adoptee kid, the troubled kid that he brings
The
in. And,
foster kid.
he's trying to like make himself bigger and trying to rise above it and be better. And then in season 3, it's just like I'm adopted and I'm black. Like it, they just completely gut his entire character, and he's
Did
the
you
main
like
focus of season 3.
did you like the Philadelphia running for commissioner at all? Because I liked that aspect. I didn't like the fighting with Beth aspect, and I didn't understand his motivation completely. Because he is somebody who went from a Wall Street type job, probably making. I looked it up, and
Half a
likely he was
million a
making
year.
half a million plus. If you are really that concerned about poor people, and that's really something that matters to you, you have the skills to go work at a place like this. Donate half of what you make. Like, go fix up the road yourself. You're making enough money that you could.
I mean, there's a lot that goes
Like,
into that. I don't want to get completely into that because we both had the conversation about like whether donating to charity is really the more effective thing to do than doing it yourself. I don't I don't really want to get into that. I want to talk about like Randall as a character. Like,
hmm,
to my memory, there's even a scene where Beth is like, "But I'm black too, and you forget that." And it's like,
no.
really?
There's like, she feels picked on because she's given up all of her dreams for his dreams, and she has to do that again because
I
he's asking
swear there's
her.
a scene where she's like, "You forget that I've had the same racial issues as you."
Not really. They kind of pull that out more weirdly with Kevin's girlfriend because they do pull that out with
Okay,
Kevin's
maybe
girlfriend.
that's what I'm talking about then. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it, but like, so Randall is like half the screen time is just Randall,
It's a lot of
And they
Randall.
completely gutted his character to the most basic form that he was in season one. So it's like, not only are you minimizing the character, you're making one aspect of him be the prominent thing. And that one aspect is the thing that he had the growth on in season one. Right? And then you have what's the sister's name?
Kate.
Kate. And like she's also gutted down to I'm just fat. And her same thing was like her growth and accountability and stuff in season one. And again, I think somebody is more than their weight. And that was something
I
that she had, and like she goes straight back to it in season
I agree with Randall not being done very well. I think it's a little bit better when he's trying to take care of the people of Philly and the moving to Philly. That relationship dynamic I like. Kate and Randall's going back to just being racism is the major problem. I don't think is handled as well. Kate dealing with her weight, I actually don't like in season one very much, and I think they handle it a little bit better in season three.
no, they handle it
Um,
better in season two.
in season two, they
She
do handle it
reverts
better.
back to who she was in season one. I agree with you.
Yeah.
In season one, she's like the same thing as Randall. Everything's my weight. I'm ugly because I'm
Yep.
fat. I can't do this because I'm fat. I'm fat. I'm fat. There's nothing about my personality, but I'm fat. In season two, they're like, no, this is why she kind of got this like unhealthy addiction to food and what she associates it with, and like how she kind of like supplements her father's passing for it, right? They do it really well. And like there's
They
a
do.
person who's more than her weight.
Yeah.
And like there's a reason why she has the weight. And like she's a deeper, more interesting person. And in season three, she's just the fat girl again,
I didn't think she was
right?
just the fat girl in season three again. I didn't get that aspect. I thought it was done better than that, but it's not season two done well. But it felt like somebody who is trying to still improve, but reverts and then tries to improve and then reverts like people do. And it felt more natural with Kate, where Randall, it felt like
I
this is the
disagree.
easy thing to write, and it felt like lazy writing instead of natural human instinct, if that makes sense.
It does. I agree with you that season three Kate is better than season one Kate, because season one Kate is the worst,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Plain and simple. But and season three Kate is not as good as season two Kate.
No,
But
that's
they
true.
detracted from her character way too much still. I don't think it
Okay.
felt natural. I felt like it was way closer to season one Kate than season two Kate. It wasn't like a happy medium where this person was struggling. And I know that they like gave the excuse that like there's health issues that come with it, right? But like you took that and then took it to like level 1000 and took away all these other aspects of her character that you've grown to know about her and ditched them, right? So I think they they gutted Randall. They made him the focus of the show. My other problem with Randall is you end season one, and even towards the end of season two, he's got this whole like, I want to rebuild my relationship with Kevin and Kate.
Yeah.
But Kevin and Kate are both like, we're doing our own thing. And then in season three, Kevin's like, I want to take this opportunity to actually do this thing with Randall. And Randall's like, screw you. I'm black and
That's a
I'm
good point.
adopted. And I'm like,
Your brother's trying to reach out and connect with you.
you have
Take it.
literally spent two seasons saying, reach out to me, reach out to me, reach out to me. And he does. But because it's part of your Black Issues project, your screw off mentality, right? And it speaks to Kevin's character way more that he pushes through anyway. And he just wants to help and be helpful and feel this appreciation and bond with Randall. And the entire time, Randall's like, but I'm adopted and I'm black, and you're not adopted or black, so you can't have any part of this.
You can't understand. Yeah, Kevin's definitely the best person in season three, for
Right?
sure. For sure.
So season three for me summed up is like what are the good things? Well, Kevin is finally an interesting character,
Yep,
right? Season
Kevin
one and
grows a
two,
ton.
he's so basic and boring as a character. Now, what are the negatives? Well, Randall is the worst part. Kate has been taken down a peg a little too much. They start gutting the integrity of Jack. They start, like I talked about him being like a great definition for masculinity and stuff like that. And now it's like, no, he's a liar. He's dishonest. He's addicted to everything. He has problems. He never asks for help. XYZ, whatever, right?
Hmm.
And so, like, no, his integrity, he's got no integrity. He's got no honor. He's got no respect. He's selfish, right? He betrays his own brother. Um, his brother's somehow alive. The mother is like a worse character too. And I know I'm being super negative. I did not turn this show off because I hated it and couldn't stand it. I just phased out of this show. I had so many problems. It got to the point where I was like, I'm not really interested in watching it right now. And now it's been, I don't know, 2 years. And it's like, do I want to go back to that? No, because like the most recent things that happened are just bad.
Your
So
reaction was stronger than mine. I didn't like the explanation with the brother, but I didn't feel like Jack's character was completely ruined or anything like that.
not
Um,
completely. Sorry, not completely. It's just the things that they
it's a
made,
negative
the
mark
values that were important to Jack in season one are not important to values to Jack in season two or
because
season
what
three,
your brother is still
right?
alive, and
Because he
you would be
values
the person that give him.
family and
Yeah,
honor and respect and hope, right?
yeah.
But now he doesn't have very much honor and he doesn't respect his family and he is not honest and doesn't have integrity and he no longer symbolizes hope. It's not like he is nothing now and has no good qualities remaining. It's just like those fundamental values you built Jack on. You're cutting them down, and like they could finish him off in season 4 and 5. I could see them doing that.
I can understand where you're coming from. I wanted a little bit more intense reason for the cutoff with the brother, with the uncle, because I think that would have made more sense. What I was thinking they were going to do was have Jack be the only one that survived. And then when he talks to his brother about it, have the brother just be defensive, not even be, but he comes off as a complete asshole because he's just being defensive. Um, because he feels bad about what he did, but he doesn't want to actually take the blame. He doesn't want to take the responsibility, and he says something incredibly stupid, and that ends the relationship for Jack. That is what I thought they were doing, and if they would have gone more that route, I understand that that still doesn't completely fit with Jack's character, but I would have been 100% fine with that
I would have
because
been 90% fine with that.
I would have been fine with it. But they didn't go that route, so it doesn't feel satisfying for the character that we know Jack to be. Randall did have quite a bit of the I'm black and I'm adopted. I liked the running for office stuff. If they would have had, because they were hinting very much that Beth and Randall may have gotten divorced. That's what they were trying to like hint out with the future versions of them. And if they would have actually done that, I would have been done with the show completely because I love their relationship and I would have hated that. Not liked it, I would have despised it. But they didn't have them break up. They're having things work out. She decided to move to Philadelphia, make her own dance studio. I like that their relationship is still forming together and it gives some kind of redemption for Randall. I think Beth makes Randall more of an interesting character, and Beth is one of my favorite parts of the entire show.
Agreed.
Kate, I liked well enough. I do hope she. I hope as she has the kid that she deals with some of this stuff, actually deals with it and is able to move on instead of just kind of reverting back to the same thing over and over again. We'll see if that happens. I don't know, but I do hope she's able to actually deal with some problems. There's enough good for me to keep going, even though I do realize there are some of these negatives that are negatives of season 3 for sure.
Fair enough.
But that's me. Um, let's go to your second topic.
Uh, okay. Spectacular now.
Mhm.
Uh, this movie has great reviews.
Okay.
Great reviews. And it has everything, all the ingredients for a movie I should love. You will look at the trailer for this movie and you will be like, this is a Josh movie. This is
Okay.
tailor made for Josh. It's got uh, Shailene Woodley. I hope I'm saying that right. Miles Teller, Kyle Chandler, some other good actors. It's a romantic teen comedy, like
Yeah, this is stacked.
tailor made. This is this is a Josh show. Josh should absolutely love this. Yet this is so boring. I turned it off halfway through.
What
So
was so boring about it?
unbelievably boring. It's only an hour and a half movie, and 45 minutes through, I was like, I'm so bored, I'm turning this off. I stopped halfway through. I turned it back on last night because I was struggling to sleep and thought, man, this'll knock me out. Luckily, the second half of the movie is way better than the first half of the movie. It gets interesting. Things start happening. It's great. Well, not great. I still think this is an extremely overrated movie, even with how much better the second half is, because I have a
Okay.
lot of problems with it. So, Miles Teller's the main character of the show, and
Okay.
he gets broken up with by, oh man, I can't remember her name as much.
Shalane Woodley,
No, she's the other girl. Hold on.
Brie
Brie
Larson.
Larson. Yeah, she gets broken up with Brie Larson, and he is so in love with Brie Larson that he decides to use Shailene Woodley's character Amy as rebound and to get over her with. Right?
Okay.
Uh, I'm going to use her character name. Amy is this innocent person. She's never been like outgoing, kind of like the book nerd kind of person. She's a happy person. She goes to school. She loves her family. She works hard. There's this whole thing about how she like delivers newspapers to help financially with her mom, because her dad died, and so they just need help with the money. And like she takes care of her kids and all this kinds of stuff. And Miles Teller is this party kid who drinks and all this kinds of stuff and whatever. And so Miles Teller's character takes advantage of her. He uses her. He is 100% still in love with Brie Larson's character through the entire show. The entire thing. Every time he looks at her, it's like this I love you so much kind of a thing. And then he goes to Amy and he uses her. He gets her, he makes her life miserable, right? So in the beginning of the show, she's this happy, innocent, kind, loving person. And Miles Teller comes along and now she's this drinking drunk, miserable. She stands up to her mom, stands up to her mom. Um, she starts hating her family. She's depressed way more, and she falls in love with Miles Teller. And Miles Teller is taking advantage of her. And when he says that, he's like, "What are you even talking about? You don't love me. You're nothing. Get out of my car." So she gets out of the car. She gets hit by a car. She's in the hospital. Miles Teller feels guilty about it and he decides, I'm going to change my life. And she's still in love with him, so she forgives him. She goes to college and he ghosts her. So everything tells you that Amy was in love with Sutter, Miles Teller's character, and he was a fun person, but ultimately wrong for her. And there's this scene with Brie Larson where they're at their high school graduation, and she walks up to Miles Teller and is like, I can't see you anymore. You are my favorite ex boyfriend, but I gotta do what's best for me, and you are not a good person to be in my life. And you go, that is healthy, that is good. That is the right call for this person. And then the movie ends with Miles Teller showing up to Amy's school, college, across the country, and they make eye contact and she smiles. And that's how the show ends. So did they
That's
get
it.
back together? Did they not? I don't know. But she should absolutely just flip him off, and that should be the end of the movie. Because he is this toxic, terrible person who's going through stuff, but is absolutely the kind of person who is like, yeah, I agree with you, Brie Larson. Having this person in your life is detrimental to your life. He has done nothing but drag everyone down.
He's just native.
He's just a negative presence in people's life.
So does the first half, is it just nothing happens and that's why it's so boring, or
The first half is him pining over Cassidy and him using Amy.
and it just
So he
drags and
shows
it's just
up drunk.
slow, or
He just shows up drunk on her lawn, and he's like, has this conversation with his buddy, and he's like, "Well, what if she falls in love with you, man?" And he's like, "He's not gonna do that, man." Right? They go to these parties where Cassidy's there, and he ditches Amy for Cassidy, and then Cassidy blows him off because she has a boyfriend, and so she goes with the boyfriend, and then Sutter comes back to Amy and is like, "Let's drink." And at first she's like, "No, I don't really drink. It's not my thing." And he's like, "Oh, come on, just try a little bit." And like part of the movie is he gets her a flask to match his flask. And by the end of the movie, she's literally spiking the punch at graduation.
that's pretty dumb.
Yeah. But I've got it pulled up. 7 out of 10 on IMDb, 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. And
That's
the
pretty
whole
solid.
first of the movie is just Sutter settling for Amy because he really wants Cassidy, and him just pining over Cassidy.
Hmm.
And it's so boring. There's no real chemistry between the two characters. It feels like Miles Teller just using her through the entire movie and is a piece of garbage person. And what are people talking about? Romance. There's no romance. He's using her.
It's just trash.
Yeah. Like, Amy as a character is a worse person at the end of it because of the influence that Miles Teller's character had on her.
Doesn't sound very good, man.
I
Doesn't sound like something worth watching.
I don't get it. I truly, truly don't get it. Because like reviews are glowing. They're great. Critics are pretty positive. Regular for this kind of show. Audience loves this show. Like I said, 92%.
That's a good audience score.
And yet I walked out of this going like, oh my gosh, the first act is so boring. And the second act is just terrible. Like,
Why would you like this movie?
why does anybody like this movie? Like
You
the
think
best
it,
part about it is that Shailene Woodley is in it, and I think she's fantastic.
she does a good job in it?
she does a good job in everything. I like her as an actress.
Hmm.
I think if she was a few years younger, she would be Jennifer. What's her name? Hunger Games girl.
What is her name?
Jennifer Lawrence. She would be
Yeah,
Jennifer Lawrence if she was like she just came out with Divergent, which was just the worst movie. So it
yeah.
didn't get as popular, so she didn't get the fame. But like a few years different, and I think she would have had that role, and things would be reversed with how you
I
look at
think Lawrence is a
movies.
better actress personally, but she's good. She does a good job.
I like her and everything. I even like. I don't love Fault in Our Stars, but I like it. I'm generally more positive to it than most people. Um,
Yeah, I don't like that movie at all, but she does a good job in it.
Everything I've seen her in it is like she does a great job, and like I literally think it's just like a little change in time frame. What a different world we would, or we just have her instead of Jennifer Lawrence kind of mentality. But like things are as they are. That's totally fine. Uh,
That's
I
what it
think
is.
Jennifer Lawrence is also great. No problems there. Not like against Jennifer Lawrence. It's just I think she's a little underappreciated, and this movie like should have all the ingredients for a movie I should love.
But
Like
it
I said,
just didn't
I
come
kind of
together.
liked Fault in Our Stars. I love A Walk to Remember. I think it's the best version of that kind of show. Um, Not against like tragedy or bad things happening in movies at all, or like depressing movies because of cancer or this or that or the other, right?
Yeah,
This one just feels what the heck? Like her character should have gone to college and realized my life is so much better without him. I can love him for being fun, but my life is better without him.
I'm
Just
done.
like the character Cassidy did. Which is like, I want more. I want bigger, better things for myself than his loser mentality of, I have a car and a job where I sell bow ties, so life's pretty sweet. Let's get drunk.
And that's about it.
Yeah. Like, she should absolutely have the awakening, right? Like, I've been in a bad relationship too. I've talked about it on this podcast. I still love that person wholeheartedly. I still want them to be happy.
But you're done.
But I have realized my life is better without that garbage in my life.
Yeah.
And if that person showed back up, hey, no bitter feelings, no need to ask for forgiveness. I've moved on, that's fine. But I'm not going to let you back into my life either, right? Like,
You move on.
you move on. You realize, right? Like, things are better without that kind of negative presence. And yeah, they can change, they can do things. That is great for their next partner,
Not for you.
but not for you because they will have done those things to you all the same.
Yep.
So maybe that's just me connecting to it in that way, and maybe not everybody has that kind of experience with somebody.
It honestly doesn't sound like that good of a movie to me. But I don't get it either. I don't get it either. Some people just like the angst, I guess.
It's not angst, it's just like bad
Just
writing.
negative. Just bad writing. Negative.
That's what I feel like. It's just bad writing. Do I think that this movie could have been good with all the plot elements they had set up? Yeah. Miles Teller has a drunk dad. They could have done a lot with that. But basically, he just shows up, drinks with Sutter, and then ditches him. And then Sutter goes on this rampage about like all of these things. That it's like you could have had this like very good storytelling of how that like made its way into his life, but nope, gonna skip to the high points. That's what we're gonna do.
Too bad. So what would
Uh,
you rate the show?
3 out of 10.
Oh, it does get a 3. Okay. I was expecting even lower than that, actually.
Like I said, the second half of this movie is actually just pretty good, right?
Mhm.
Like if the show had ended like I said it should, where she flipped him off and said screw off, or I love you, you know, you broke me out of my shell, you made me a more interesting person, but my life is better
Nah, I'm
without
good.
you. Okay, great. But it doesn't end that way. It's just more bad writing, and it's like the director was like, will they, won't they? And it's like, yeah, but if they do, that's terrible. And if they don't, why did you end it that way? You know, it could be pretty good. There's some good stuff that they could have. There's
But they
good
just didn't
elements.
deliver.
The actors all do a great job with what they were given.
But they're just given bad writing.
Just given bad writing.
All right. That'll lead to my next show, which is the opposite. It has great writing. Pantheon. I talked about season 1 a long time ago, like at the beginning of this podcast. And I thought season 1 was all the show had. You couldn't watch season 2 unless you were in Australia or Singapore for years. And I don't know why they did that, but you literally couldn't watch the show. Season 2 completes the show and turns it from something that was pretty good, interesting ideas, to something that is great. And if you're into sci-fi, you should watch. Um, the show starts with a girl who's getting bullied, and she's getting cyberbullied. It's very modern that way. Her name's Maddie, and someone steps in and stops the cyberbullying. You don't know who, but they kind of bully the cyberbullies and get them to stop, and it's just enough to like say knock it off. She starts talking to them, and they're talking like she talked when she talked with her dad, and they have little inside jokes like her dad, but her dad is dead. Doesn't make a lot of sense. The mom catches her talking to this stranger online, and the stranger says something that only her father would have known. You find out that her dad uploaded and became a digital intelligence. He's the first one to do this, but he's not the only one that's done it. Countries have their own digital intelligence UIs, is what they're called, that have started to integrate. These integrations come with problems because these UIs are extremely, extremely powerful. The main villain of the show has this dream of a future where there is no death, where you can progress forever, and where humans who he believes are ruining the planet won't be there to ruin the planet anymore. People will just keep growing and it will become a digital life instead of a physical life. So eventually they turn off the internet because the UIs are causing so many problems and they don't want them connecting to the internet and being able to cause all these problems. Turning off the internet obviously affects all of society, and society is freaking out because they want their internet back, they want all of these services back, but the UIs would literally take everything over. So you have this conflict that arrives inside of the writing that's extremely well done, with the main villain trying to become kind of the head of the UIs and everybody else trying to stop them. There's twists and turns along the road. Very satisfying. That's kind of where your first season goes. The second season expounds upon that and introduces more really interesting ideas. In this world of UIs, they're like superheroes. They think faster, they move faster. They're even depicted as superheroes, and it kind of lets you grasp how much more their potential is and why it makes the idea of becoming the UI compelling. They do a good job of making it making you understand why someone would end their physical life and go into this universe, into this AI internet based life. it makes the whole story compelling. It makes the villain's purpose understandable. It also makes the heroes more relatable. Um, Maddie eventually gets to the point where she's very against the UIs because she's lost so much. Her dad, being the first one, has to sacrifice a lot to bring to pass a future that's better than what is currently headed towards, like any good hero story does. And she's kind of caught in the middle of all of this and has to suffer pain after pain after pain, and it builds up the character in a very interesting way. I like good endings. I think endings are extremely hard to pull off, and anytime you pull off a good ending, I give you a lot of credit. This show has a fantastic ending. 2 seasons was perfect, and you should watch it. It's just good. You should just watch it.
Okay,
Yeah,
it sounds interesting.
it's a, it's an interesting show. It's well done, and I don't even agree with all of the philosophies that are put in place, which is something else I like about the show. I give a lot of credit for because nothing feels like it's getting shoved down my throat. Like the only thing that you kind of have to just believe because the authors believe is that the planet is going to die and kind of a green initiative aspect. There is that. Other than that, they represent different viewpoints. They represent different thought patterns. There's even two UIs. One of them is the UI for Israel, and one of the UI for Palestine. And this is before. This would have been before the major conflict that's going on. Um, but they handle it in an extremely respectful way where everybody's just trying to come together and there's two different points of view and it doesn't feel like there's a political point getting shoved down your throat. It feels like the writers were smart enough to actually write something with some nuance, which I appreciated. It's a good show.
That's always a good thing. Gotta
It's a good
appreciate
show.
it.
With that, let's go to your last topic before I share a topic.
Okay. Do you know what this is?
I have never heard of this. I don't know what this is.
Okay. Do you know the tale of Orpheus and Eurydice?
Yes, I do.
For viewers, Orpheus is a musician who goes down into the underworld. Just basic storytelling. There's a lot more to it, but he goes into the underworld to save or to bring back Eurydice, his wife, and is told as long as he exits hell and doesn't look back, he can save his wife. And he gets to one step away and then gives into temptation and looks back and
Yeah.
loses her forever.
Have you ever seen Hades? The musical Hades?
Hades Town?
Hades Town musical, yeah, sorry. Hades
Yeah,
Town.
I hate it. It's garbage.
Oh, wow. Okay. I completely disagree with you on that. I love that musical. Anyway, go ahead with.
It's terrible. It
Oh,
is
I think
the
you're.
absolute worst thing about jazz that people who hate jazz say about jazz.
I think you're so
It's
wrong. I love
not.
Hades Town.
The music sucks.
I think
It's
it's brilliant.
gross.
Anyway,
But anyway,
Odessa.
Odessa. Okay. Odessa is Hulu's new movie that is the Orpheus and Eurydice, but steampunk, and not just steampunk. Punk. They're trying to resurrect the genre of rock opera.
Okay.
And I think we need more rock opera stuff. I love the Flash Gordon movie. It's a dead genre. They don't make them anymore because they don't make a lot of movies. This is a slightly different version because if you take Flash Gordon, for example, it's a band. They basically mesh together their own songs to kind of tell a story with like Flash Gordon being a written song just for the movie. Right? So there's like one song that's for the movie, but the rest is kind of just like here's how we make this a plot, right? Odessa is all individual songs for the movie, and it's not like a band like it kind of, in my opinion, should be. And is it perfect? And does it have problems? Yes, it does. So in the beginning, Odessa has two parents. Her father is a rambling man, and her mother hates music. And when the dad dies, they put his guitar in a coffin and bury it, and she's forbidden for playing music all the time. And then the mom is about to die and is like, I know you're going to play music and I support you, and then dies. And it's like, why did we have 5 minutes of you just hating on music then? Why couldn't you just have, like, a girl losing both her parents is still a trauma? Like, and it doesn't play into the greater role of things. It's not like it comes back that her mom hated music or that her mom was right in any way to hate music in any way. Very cheesy film, lots of plot holes, like a lot of rock operas have, and that's okay in these scenarios. It's okay to have this kind of like cheesy, throw together plot lines, interesting, surface level, enjoyable, great music, musical thing that rock operas are. And we need more of it. This is a pretty good one. Honestly, in grander schemes, is it the best rock opera of all time? No, it's far from it. Uh, at the end of it, she goes into the quote unquote hell to get back her partner. Um, and instead of, so like, the world is steam, the universe is steampunk. So there's no more life. Nobody's really a farmer anymore. Um, her parents were dirt farmers, quote, literally. They farmed dirt, whatever that means. Um, Big giant pipes all over the world. Everything's run on oil. There's this big bad guy who's hypnotized everyone and has a cult, XYZ, whatever. And in the end, Odessa sings a song and it breaks everybody's hypnosis. And everything should be good, right? But no, she makes a deal. She's granted one wish, and her one wish is to bring back her significant other who she went into hell to get. And the Hades character goes, okay, but he's no longer him anymore because if you won, that means he lost. And since he lost, he got turned into this monster thing. And she goes, no! And then lights her guitar on fire and smashes it into some oil and blows up the whole building. Right? Like, okay, so she lost. So she's going to destroy the world. Because the whole thing is like, this is the main hub of all the oil and plasma. And so I was like, okay, so she caused a chain reaction that would literally blow up not just this hell place, but the world. Like, oil is very flammable. It's not just going to like stop in the middle of a pipe. No, it's going to continue on to wherever the heck it came from and continue exploding. And like,
Yeah.
everyone's dead. Literally, she killed everyone. Everyone's dead. But there's this like super weird moment where she meets her significant other in the afterlife and they kiss, and then it cuts back to the real world, and it's like, no, just that building exploded. No real reason why just that building exploded, but just that building exploded. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever. It's a rock opera. I get it. It's entertaining. It's good. The music's good. The actors do a great job, and like, I just love a good rock opera. And this was them trying to revive the genre, and I support it for that. Like, it's pretty good. It's entertaining. Should you watch it? Absolutely, you should.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Me in particular, or
Everybody,
anybody?
anyone in general. I think you should watch
Okay.
it. Like, most people, I feel like watching this are going to be like, what's rock opera? And then I'll bring up Flash Gordon and they'll be like, yeah, I kind of remember that being a thing 40 years ago,
Yeah.
right? But it's like, hey, having some cheesy, lightweight, fun, good music kind of thing is not a bad thing. Yeah, it's never going to be a big budget thing. It's never going to make a gazillion dollars like movies feel like they need to all the time. I was like, I count this movie as a win, and it should be a win, so they should make more. I would love a rock opera of Coldplay. I think that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
So make it now. Make this successful enough that they make that. That's what I want. Ultimately, this one's good.
It's cool. Maybe I'll give it a shot. I like some rock musicals. Like Jesus Christ Superstar is really good. I actually really like it a lot. Um, trying to think other ones that I really like.
I love Flash Gordon. It's so good.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I know it's a big cult classic. People love that movie. It's all right.
You just can't expect serious out of it,
That's true. That's
right? It's
true.
a rock opera. It's about a Jets quarterback who goes a Jets quarterback. So not even a good quarterback, a Jets quarterback goes into space to fight the Space King. Like,
Come on.
it's okay that it's a little bit ridiculous, right?
Yeah, it is.
And you got to
It
go
is.
into this movie the same way. If you expect like serious, and there are some parts where it does like kind of focus on the more serious thing, and like there's the greater message about oil and nature, right? But it's not a big hyper focused thing, which makes it kind of okay to me. And like most of the movie is just ridiculous, and that's
And
okay.
that's okay.
Yeah, just make ridiculous films again. Make some rock operas. Make some indie projects that are just out there, right? Yeah, you're gonna get some Napoleon Dynamites, which for some people is gonna be great. For you and I, is just terrible. And you're gonna get some, labyrinths. You're gonna get some Flash Gordons. You're gonna get some cheesy Godzillas that, like, yeah, probably shouldn't make sense if you think about it, and you shouldn't like it if you think about it. And like, yeah, those are definitely Power Rangers fake kicks going on, and why they're Power Ranger fake kicking in a submarine to try and fight Godzilla, I don't know. Is it
But
entertaining me still?
for some
Yes,
people, it's
it is.
awesome. For some people, it just works.
Yeah, like I love that they took a chance on this and did a weird one again.
That's cool. That's cool. Um, yeah, something I could see me play maybe in the background. Give it a watch.
Just give it a try. Like, it may not hit for everyone. It is ridiculous. It's got lots of plot holes. It's not very consistent tonal wise. It's got some good music. It's got some bad music.
But
I
overall,
do
it's
think the
enjoyable.
better way to do it is to have a band use their own music because their own music is generally consistent in like tone and genre. But this is still not bad. This is still enjoyable. There's still some really good music to it. I still had a great time with it. I'm so glad I watched it.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm glad you had a good time with it, man. Odessa. I'll try it out. Um, what would you rate this?
6.5 out of 10.
Okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
fully acknowledge that it's not great. I fully acknowledge that, like, no, this is not going to make a rotational movie where I will watch it every few years or anything like that.
But you had a
But,
good
like,
time with it for your
I
one
had a
watch.
good time with it. I enjoyed it. And I really, like, let's support art, right? We talked about that
Yeah.
last week, you know? For no other reason, download Half-Life Alex RTX so that you can support that art.
Support art.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, with that, let's go to our last topic, Revenant. I've wanted to watch this for a really, really long time. I've heard about the way that they shot things. I mean, they actually embraced the cold. Um, they wanted it to feel really natural, so they didn't use lighting effects. They actually just used the sun and they used fire, and they went out in the cold and they had to move equipment through these piles of snow that are feet thick, and they had to figure out how to do that. And the result is a absolutely beautiful movie. I think this movie is gorgeous. I also think this movie is too long. There is a lot of like Lord of the Rings. They complain about those scenes where they're walking and you see New Zealand. Um, this movie actually does that too much. I think there's a little bit too much of the just nature scenes. Along with that, you have these moments where our main character is he's going through a lot of crap. Like he's going through Leonardo's character is going through a lot of stuff, and he's reflecting on his life. And sometimes the reflections I don't think are as smooth, so you get kind of lost in what's going on inside of the movie, and it makes the movie feel a little bit too long and too drawn out. Those are a couple of my little negatives. I think the acting in this movie all around is fantastic. Like I think it's really, really good. Leonardo's great. The what is his name? The Bridger guy, the guy who plays Bridger, very good. Like did a really, really good job. Dom Hall Gleason, I think, is wildly underrated as an actor and is fantastic in this movie. Like really good. Tom Hardy does a great job in this movie. Everyone is excellent. They shot everything with real lighting, so for me, it really gripped me. I was in this movie during the scenes where you weren't cutting back to his past life events. When you were with him and you were walking with him and you were part of the things with him and you were watching him survive, I was gripped. I was in the movie. If they would have cut out some of those flashback scenes or made it a little bit smoother, I think I could have been gripped throughout the entire movie. And instead of me just saying this is a very good movie with great cinematography, really great action pieces, really gripping moments, I would say this is phenomenal. Instead, I say this is very good. That's kind of what I thought. What did you think?
What would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Solid 8. Like I still really liked it. Maybe just below an 8 because some of those flashback scenes did make it feel kind of long, and I don't know if I'd rewatch it because of that. But the good stuff in this movie is very good.
I don't feel like there was too many nature shots, and I don't
Okay.
feel like it was too beautiful of a movie, or it wasn't.
Oh, I thought it was
There was no
gorgeous.
part where I was like, "Wow, just look at that shot or look at that scenery." That never
Oh,
happened for me. I had
wow.
none of that at all. Are they in a beautiful place with mountains and trees? Yeah, that's my happy place. I love mountains and trees. Uh, but do I think they overdid it with too many scenic shots? No. Do I feel like it was a particularly like beautifully shot movie? No. Is it cool that they used the sun and torches? Yes. Uh, but I want to talk about first why this movie is so renowned, and that is it gave Leonardo DiCaprio the Oscar
Yeah.
so many people felt like he deserved for so long.
Yeah.
I don't think this was his Oscar worthy performance. And I
I
think that
don't
if
think this is his
anybody in
best
this
one either.
movie, not best, like we can throw that out the window. This is definitely not his best performance, right? But is it Oscar worthy?
Yes, I think it is.
No, it's not. And if anybody was to get an Oscar in this movie, it should have been Tom Hardy. Want to know why it should have been Tom Hardy? It took me half the movie to figure out that was Tom Hardy.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was
Wow.
like, he looks kind of familiar. Who is that guy? At the very beginning, I was like, man, that guy kind of looks like Tom Hardy. And then the next shot, immediately, I was like, no, that's not Tom Hardy.
Wow.
He did such a great job with his character and his acting and his accent. Like, he killed it at
He
this
was really
movie.
good.
And,
Absolutely excellent.
like, he's a character that generally gets typecast. And he wasn't in this one. And he still knocked it out of the park. Like, I am a Tom Hardy fan. Like,
So am I.
I love Warrior. I like Venom 1 and 2. Like, I like Tom Hardy. I think he does a great job in anything that I've seen. But he killed it. And if I were to give an Oscar to anyone in this movie, it would 100% be him. Would not have a second thought about it. Right? I think Leo does a good Leo job, honestly. He does. I just don't think it's Oscar worthy. Like, this is a great performance. Like, this came out in 2015. And of all
Yeah.
the movies and actors who did a good job in 2015, was he an Oscar candidate? No, I feel like this was like a, well, he kind of deserves one anyway, so we're going to nominate him for it. And because he really deserves one because of everything he's done before, we're just going to give it to him. That's what it feels like to me.
Oh, I did not feel it. I thought he did a great job in this movie. Is it his best performance? No. I think there are other performances that deserve the Oscar more. But am I cool with him getting an Oscar for this? Absolutely. He did a
Oh,
very good job. He ate the raw fish. He ate the bison liver. He crawled through the snow. He literally starved himself so he would look skinnier throughout the movie. Like he grew out the hair. He did all the crap. Yeah, I think he deserves the Oscar. I'm good with him getting the Oscar for this. I thought he
okay.
did excellent.
If you're talking about stuff people did outside the film, right? You're going to factor that in. He definitely doesn't deserve it, right?
What are
If
you
we talk
talking
about
about?
Paul Bettany and what he did for the Da Vinci Code, right?
What did he do for the
Actors
Da Vinci
start.
Code?
Oh, he like actually whipped himself. He actually starved himself. He actually did all of those things. And
Hmm.
it's a different tone of film. He's not out in the wild, so it's not exactly the same. But like, if you factor that kind of stuff in, actors have put themselves through a lot of absolute garbage to fit a role, to look for a role, right?
Yeah,
I can't. You can't factor that into me. You have to rate them on the performance they did on screen.
I know, but he ate the fish on screen.
So what?
That's crazy.
So
He caught the fish and he ate the fish on screen. He ate the beef liver on screen. Uncooked beef liver on screen. He froze on screen. Like he
yeah,
did
that's not
all of
a
this
new
crap
thing. Like,
on
actors have
screen.
done it.
I know, but then you have a great performance along with doing all this
You
crazy
don't have a
crap.
great performance along with it. Half the movie,
I
his role is
disagree.
sit there, lay there. Then you get to the second half where he starts crawling around. So that's my next criticism of this movie is like I had to suspend my disbelief a lot for this.
I
Too
saw
far.
your notes on that and I wanted to talk to you about that because I don't understand that at all.
Okay,
I thought this
so
was a
he's
very believable movie.
mauled by a bear, which people do survive. To be fair,
Yeah, the
right?
character he's based off of literally had that happen to him. That's based on a
Then
real
the
event.
bear lands on him,
Yes,
which is like 2,000 pounds,
it's at least a ton. Yeah.
and then he's crawling around, and his leg is flopping around like this,
Hmm.
right? And then he starts walking.
Starts limping.
Okay, if your leg is flipping around like this,
Was his
you're
leg
never
flopping around that
walking along.
much?
Yes.
Okay.
Go to when he first starts crawling, and it's literally a shot from behind him, and he's crawling like this, and his leg is literally
I remember him crawling like that, but I didn't remember his leg being that floppy. Because you're
Oh,
right.
his leg is
That would,
absolutely floppy, right? So, like, do people
yeah.
survive getting mauled by bears? Yes. Would somebody, like, say, survive if a car came crashing down from 15 feet above them? Yes. Do people survive when their legs are broken like that? Yes. Do people survive if all three of those things happen? No.
Almost never know.
Right? And specifically the leg, right? Like, unless you have a doctor set it and cast it and hold it,
And sometimes get
it's
surgery.
not gonna heal in a way that you would ever walk on it again. Like, not even just limp. It would heal, the bone would fuse, and his leg would sit like this, and he would, like, put any pressure on it, and his leg would break again. Like, that was so, like,
The leg
it
just
was
put it over the
way
top for you.
too far, right? Like, I was not a big fan of both him getting mauled by the bear and then landed on by the bear, right? Like, because not only are you bleeding out from all the cuts and things, but then you compress it, meaning you you squeeze out all of his blood,
Yeah.
right? He's not a whole person getting crushed by that much weight. He's a very mangled, open wound kind of person who got
Yeah.
smashed by all that weight. So, uh, took me a little too far of suspension of disbelief there. Like, was not a big fan of the leg thing happening, right? I felt like this was a little bit slow of a movie. It took way too long to get going. Um, I thought that there was going to be a lot more tension between a mute DiCaprio, who was injured, and a guilty Fitzgerald, Tom Hardy, right? There, that was my favorite scene in the entire movie, where Fitzgerald was looking at DiCaprio, saying like, "I know you know that I'm guilty," and DiCaprio not able to say anything. Right, that was the best scene in the entire show. Uh, but it got really, really slow after that. There were a lot of parts that were really hard to follow. There's flashbacks that really confused current events. There's a lot of characters that you're like, wait, I thought they died. What is happening here?
The
Um,
flashbacks were rough.
yeah. Uh, is this a bad movie by any stretch of the means? No, it's not. Um, my big takeaway from this is like, did DiCaprio deserve the Oscar for this performance? I don't believe so. I'm not mad that he won it because he does deserve to have one. Um, but like, if I were in charge, would I have given DiCaprio for it when you have Tom Hardy's performance right there? No. Like, if we're judging performances, just
Hmm?
performances, not name actors, not anything, right? Like, I think Tom Hardy clearly did the best job, and then you have Will Poulter and Domhnall Gleeson
Yeah,
in
they're
second
both so
place,
good.
and then
They're
you
so
had
good.
DiCaprio as your fourth best performance in this movie. And granted, it's a movie with some really good performances.
Yeah.
Like, being the fourth best in that lineup is no shade to you. It's just like, were you really the best actor of that year when you were the fourth best actor in your own movie? I don't think so. Um, I will not watch this movie again.
Okay.
I won't. It was fine. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad I can know what the hype is behind this movie. It just didn't hit for me. This is like a 7 out of 10.
Okay. This movie obviously hit for me more than it hit for you because I liked it a lot. It could have been better, could have been truly great, but it hit for me.
Okay, but like, if you take the fame out from this movie, right? You replace DiCaprio with somebody else. Would that role have gotten an Oscar? No. Would this movie have the fame and support behind it without
I think
DiCaprio?
it probably
Also,
still would
no.
have been nominated, but I don't know if it would have won. I do think it probably would have been nominated.
Oh, I'd have to look it up.
That year, they had Bryan
Best
Cranston
actor.
in Turbo. They had Matt Damon in The Martian. I think this is better than Matt Damon's Martian. Um, Michael
Oh no way!
Fassbender as
Matt
Steve
Damon and
Jobs. Yeah, I think this is better than that. Michael Fassbender as Steve Jobs. I actually think is probably better than this one, to be honest. And then Eddie Redmayne in The Danish Girl, which I've never seen. It kind of looks like a dumb movie to me. But Eddie Redmayne's a really good actor, so possible.
2015 was Eddie Redmayne in Theory of Everything. That's what this Reddit post says.
But among that, yeah, I still think it would have been nominated. As long as it wasn't completely terribly acted, I think it would have been nominated.
I don't think so, but like, I don't know where your list is that you're looking at, but like Matt Damon in The Martian, I love that movie, and I think it has only made that movie good was Matt Damon and his performance in it. Right, his performance saves that entire movie, and not only saves it, makes it a good movie.
Fair.
Right. So would I give Matt Damon the Oscar over DiCaprio in these two comparisons? Yeah, because even if
He
you
saved
said
the movie.
DiCaprio was great, Tom Hardy was also great, and he also had two other phenomenal actors putting in phenomenal performances
It
to
wasn't
help
just
them out
him.
with it. Right. Uh, there was another movie you mentioned that I would absolutely put it on it, but
I think Fassbender probably did deserve it
yeah,
over
Fassbender.
Leonardo that year. He does it. He's really good in that movie. He's really good in that movie.
So
But what movie would you give Leonardo his Oscar for?
I don't know. I'm not a probably nothing nobody else or something nobody else would. Because I wouldn't do Wolf on Wall Street. I wouldn't do Titanic. Wouldn't do Revenant. Inception. Romeo and Juliet. Catch Me If You Can. I haven't
Catch Me
seen
If You
Shutter
Can is a good
Island,
one.
but I might do that one once I've seen it.
Shutter Island is a good one.
I think he does a great job in Great Gatsby. In fact, I think he's the only thing in that movie that makes it an enjoyable experience.
I agree completely. Actually,
Yeah, so my
he's good.
first pick would be Catch Me If You Can.
That's a good one. That's a good one. He's great in that. Yeah, I would. I this will. It'll be a while before I rewatch this again, but this is one that I would rewatch.
I wouldn't be mad if somebody turned it on, but is this going to be something I turn on myself? Probably not. Is this going to be a movie that I will be like, hey, you haven't seen that? You should totally watch it. Also, no. It's good.
Okay,
Glad I'm in on it. Glad I know what's going on.
but that's about it.
But that's about it for me.
Okay, I feel like this one a little bit more than you did. That's all right.
Well,
Different things.
when you rewatch it and you see that foot, let me know how much it bothers you because it bothers the crap out of me.
I will do that because I just missed that. To be completely honest, I just did. Um, Last thing I wanted to say before we end this is just how underrated I think the Dom Hall Gleason guy is. He plays the older brother in Harry Potter, which I didn't even realize it was him. Like I didn't realize that was the same guy. And then he is in Ex Machina, which is great. He does such a good job in it. There's a Black Mirror episode I talked about a couple weeks ago that he's in. He's fantastic. He does an incredible job in it. And After Time is my favorite romance probably ever, and he's great. and does a fantastic job. And he just deserves more credit than he gets. He just does. He's great.
I agree with you completely. I haven't seen
100%.
most of those things, but like, yeah, I agree with you.
He's so good. And I have to look at it again. I was going to say when I was thinking about this episode that he is the best actor in Harry Potter, but there's a lot of good actors in Harry Potter. I don't know if I want to stick behind that,
No,
but
he's not, and he's
he's
also
very good.
barely in Harry Potter.
I know there's some great actors in Harry Potter, but he is that good that I would debate saying that. I
The guy
would
who plays Snape, done.
is amazing. He's amazing. I
Alan
know.
Rickman,
I know.
not
He's
even
incredible.
competition.
He's incredible. That's the one that makes me go ah. Also, the
Like
one
we're
that
talking about
plays
him, like your actor that you're talking about, he's like B plus A minus tier actor,
oh, I would give
severely
him an A.
underrated. Okay, I would give you A, but like Alan Rickman is like A plus, borderline S tier actor, right? Like yeah, they could play in the same league for a little while, but Alan Rickman is clearly the better player,
He
right?
is so good. He is so good. I know. The other one that is also really, really great is the McGonagall actress. She's
Oh,
very good.
absolutely. She's also very, very good. But I
She's
would put
very
them
good.
as a more comparable, A minus, B plus, A tier kind of area. But
Okay.
like Alan Rickman specifically, you're talking about a borderline, arguably S tier actor
Against an
up
A.
against an A tier. It's like, okay, like
It's just not fair. That's
they
that's
could be
that's true.
playing in the same league for a little bit, but one is going to be
He's
dominating
just
the league. The other one's just going to be in it.
he's been up there at the very top for such a long time. Just consistently puts it out. Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. All right, guys. With that, that is the end of our episode. We appreciate you all watching. If you haven't seen The Revenant, it's worth watching, especially if you like history and are interested in that time in history. Watch Odessa.
Disagree completely.
What are you talking about?
The only accurate thing to this historically is that a guy got mauled by a bear. Like the
Eh,
greater plot of this is not historically accurate at all. It doesn't even say based on a true story at the beginning of this movie.
I know that. I know that. But they tried to make the surroundings of the time period feel authentic.
But they weren't.
Whatever. Whatever. Okay. If you like
If you want to
movies,
watch it, great, but don't call
watch
it
it.
history. That's not history.
I think they tried to make the tribes more realistic. They tried to make the lives of these people realistic. Yes, I get that the history is off. He got mauled by a bear, and yes, he did survive and went through the wilderness, but he didn't have a son. He forgave Fitzgerald like it wasn't that wasn't accurate. But they tried to make the sort of the lives of those people and what it would be like to survive this terrible situation realistic.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, yeah, they did.
No, they didn't try.
Anyway,
Not accurate.
if you guys decide to watch Odessa, I would be interested to see what you think. Do you have a favorite rock opera? I couldn't think of very many before. I do love Jesus Christ Superstar. That was great. It's fantastic. And if you're into sci-fi, totally watch Pantheon because it's great. We appreciate you guys. Let us know if there's anything you want us to watch together. I'm happy to watch something and tell you why Josh is wrong. Anytime we can watch anything, it'll be good. We
Not
appreciate
anything.
you
I
guys.
will not watch anything, but I'm open to suggestions.
That's good. Appreciate you guys. See ya.